everyone, it's Alex on the block, and today I have an amazing announcement. Oh my god. After 22 days, I have finally finished POW, Queen of Air and Darkness. So Queen of Air and Darkness is the last book in the Dark Artifices series, which is of course a book in the Shadowhunter world by Cassandra Clare. And this, oh my god, it's just been a journey, and I will share this very amazing journey with you guys. Me and my sore throat and my fan over there because it's hot. We're in a tropical country. That's what happens when it's daytime, it's hot. But yeah, I will push through this sore throat and this heat to bring about my thoughts on this book. If you haven't read the Dark Artifices series, if you haven't read the Mortal Instrument series, the Dark Artifices series, probably don't watch this video yet because I will be saying a lot of spoilers. This will be a spoiler filled video because oh my god, there's just a lot of things I want to talk about and my phone's gonna, oh my god, wait. Look, so this tripod does not want to cooperate with my phone, but let's just pray to the gods that it will hold up. Anyway, so I have a lot of thoughts about Queen of Air and Darkness, and I'll just put it out here because I don't know. There's been some hate in the book community these past few weeks, and this shouldn't be how we start the new decade. So yeah, just a disclaimer, these are just my thoughts only. If you absolutely love this book, your opinions are valid. That's your own thoughts and your own feelings. I'm just over here sharing my feelings. These are mine only. If you can relate to my feelings and my opinions, then great, let's have a good time. If you can't relate to my thoughts and my feelings about this book, then we can talk about it. It's like a dialogue. Yeah. So if you've been following me on Instagram or on Twitter, I've been sounding off about this book because seriously, the month is almost over and I just finished this. It's been 22 days. It's been 22 days and I don't read a book that long. Every time I see this book on my bedside shelf, I'm like, dear God, because it's such a ginormous book, if you can see. However, the first two books of this series are also pretty long, and I haven't really had difficulty in reading them compared to the difficulty I have when I read this one. So from the beginning, it's been really dragging. I'm just putting it out there. It was a really dragging book, like at the start. Although I must say, see, look at this. I annotated the first parts. I must say, like, the first scene going here, like the part where Livy died, yeah, spoiler, and everything's just in chaos. I really love that scene because it felt like a movie. It was so vivid, it was amazingly written. It was like I was there and I was seeing everything in slow motion, and I'm just like, holy. But yeah, I really loved that part. I really liked how the author portrayed the different types of grief, because like, of course, in the real world, when somebody dies, we don't deal with it the same way, and it was very much shown in this book, which that's a part I really liked about this book. Although at the first parts, it was like an internal conflict. It showed an internal conflict which to me was a bit dragging. And of course, it still focuses on heavily on the star-crossed lovers theme that's been going on in this book, because obviously Julian and Emma are parabatai, and falling in love with your parabatai is not, it's forbidden. It causes like a curse or something. They turn into monsters and blah. But yeah, very much a star-crossed lovers themed book. Kinda like also the Mortal Instruments book. I think Cassandra Clare really thrives on telling stories, love stories that are conflicting. Still deals with that, which to me was very, very. I was kind of over it, because the first parts really were so dragging that I was like, God, can we have some action over here? If I can describe the whole book in like an illustrated form, do you guys know the illustration of the boa constrictor swallowing an elephant in The Little Prince? That's how I felt like. It's like very much like, ooh. Although I don't know if the boa constrictor in The Little Prince is actually in verse, but with some YouTube magic, we can just reverse it if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's kind of like that. This actually caused me to be in a reading slump. So let's just look at some of my annotations, because I annotated the first few. So yeah, I really like the beginning. So I said here, off the bat, I feel like a lot of manipulations and politics would be in this book, and I feel like the characters would do a lot of insanely stupid decisions, which I was correct. Page 50. There were a lot of stupid decisions in this book. And then in page 100, I put, where is it? I feel like this is why I'm on a reading slump. Julian is annoying. He was super responsible in the first books, but now he's very irresponsible, which also to me was one of the factors why I didn't have the motivation to read this, because the character switch for Julian was so rapid. It blew my mind, and I was not into it. Although I think it was necessary for the plot to develop, but yeah, I was just super annoyed with him. And then, yeah, here, the many POVs were overwhelming. Some were, I think, not that necessary. They were just checking up on the characters sort of chapters. So this is also the thing that affected my reading experience, was that there were so many characters involved in here. Like, almost all, not really, like a lot of characters from the Infernal Devices. So Tessa and Jem are here. And then from the Mortal Instruments, there were a lot of side characters which are here. And it was just so overwhelming. Like, for me, showing the point of views of every member in the Blackthorn family was enough. And as well as Emma, of course, and Diana. But yeah, there was just a lot of things going on in this book. So I'm just gonna check on my list, because I do have a list of things that I want to discuss, and I feel like I'm diverting hugely from this list. Okay, yeah, so pacing, start, progression, still follows. Oh yeah, here. So there are too many details, too many characters, and too many plot lines involved. So there's Livy, Tai, and Kit. Obviously, Tai is the twin of Livy. So for the whole book, it actually also follows Tai and Kit, whose relationship I thought would develop more. So maybe it will develop in the next series, The Wicked Power series, because it did say that that series would focus on the youngest of the Blackthorn family. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot more that could have been developed for Kit and Tai, and it wasn't developed in this series. Although yeah, maybe it will be carried over in the next series. And then there was Drusilla, so Drew also had her story is also in here, which I don't think was necessary. It just added to the volume of the pages of this book. Like, yeah, why? At the end, we don't really get a conclusion as to why Drusilla was highlighted in this book. Although, of course, if I was the author, I would feel bad if I don't include Drusilla. But yeah, I don't think it was really necessary. And then Julian and Emma, of course. And then the Warlock sickness. And then the history of the Seelie and Unseelie Queen and King, which was just Jesus Christ. And then there was the Blight, and then Christina, Mark, and Kieran, Diana and Gwen, the cohort, Annabelle. There was just so much going on. Although, of course, Cassie Clare has developed the world so marvelously that you could relate to it, but it's very like overwhelming. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. There's this, and there's this, and there's this, and there's this, and there's this. This is happening while this is happening, and this is also a conflict. There was just so much going on for me personally. But of course, I do love everything that's in this book. It was just that overwhelming feeling. It's not much of the quality, but it's just like the quantity. So diving into some of the other relationships in this book. So for Christina, Mark, and Kieran, this is such a foreign concept in the book for me, which was kind of refreshing because at first I thought, like before this book, like the first few books, I thought that it was gonna be Mark and Christina forever. But it was, I mean, I don't know, it's different, but it's good. It's like, what do you call that? A love triangle, but legitimately they all love each other. Which never happens, I think. Really love their relationship. It showed, I don't know. One other thing about this book is the diversity, and I think that for Cassandra Clare, by discussing different types of relationships, she could inject in more diversity, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, here. The other dimension, Thule, is that how you pronounce it? Thule, Thule. That was so weird for me. It was so weird to read. Although, like at the first part, I was like, what the hell? Because there's this blight, right? And, ooh, that rhymed. There's this blight which is affecting the warlocks. And for some reason, ley lines are also involved, but not really. And then the Fairy King was involved in this blight, and the blight came from another dimension. Am I piecing it correctly? If not, please tell me. So anyway, I didn't know what to feel about this other dimension thing going on, just because it felt so random when I was reading it. But when it developed even more, like when the story progressed and they were still in Thule, it was kind of like, oh, maybe it does work for this story. But yeah, I'm still very much divided on whether I like it or not, just because it feels so weird and so random. I know this is a fantasy book, but whoa, that's the main thing I can say. Whoa, nothing of substance. I'm just saying, Whoa. So yeah, let's talk about the villains. So the villains for me, they're not the best. They're not the most sinister villains of all the villains that I've encountered. For me, of course, Sebastian is still the more superior villain than Horace Dearborn and Zara Dearborn. And for me, it's just because for these villains, for the cohort, it stems on, I don't know, for me it's just pettiness. And it's not a very deep rooted motivation for them to do all those horrible things, because they did do a lot of horrible things, inhumane things to a lot of the characters in the book. But for me, their motivation, their reason is not that deep that it would elicit kind of like fear from you. You just think of them as stupid. Like, what the hell? Why would you have prejudice to a certain group or a certain race of people? Because of course the downworlders are still people, they're just different. And it's still, for me, it transcends in the real world. Because why the heck would you have prejudice to a certain race? They're also people. There's just no reason to hate on someone just because of what they are. And I did read an interview of Cassandra Clare in Teen Vogue, because after this book, I was actually so shocked by the ending, but we'll get to that. I was so shocked by the ending that I was like, when the freak is the next book coming out? Is there even a next book? Because I didn't know that the Wicked Powers would be out after this. Because like the next series that comes out is the Last Hour series, so the Chain of Gold book, and that's between the Infernal Devices and the Mortal Instruments, I think. Teen Vogue, Cassandra Clare. Also, did you know that Cassandra Clare's real name is, what's that? Judith? So the title of the article is Cassandra Clare's Queen of Air and Darkness completely shakes up the Shadowhunters universe while mirroring the real world. Which to me, it's a pretty accurate description. So see here, she talks about the villains. While Claire always has included villains who are misguided and do evil for various reasons in her books before, this was the first time the villain of the story was actually one of the good guys, or at least the character Horace Dearborn thinks so. I wanted it to be specifically about taking power by spreading misinformation, by trying to project the image of strength by stroking fear. That's a current of politics we're looking at globally right now that developed as the books did. So that's pretty much what I got as well from this book. See, she says here, the idea that there are still power-hungry people who are willing to exploit other people's fears still holds. And she adds that Dearborn is very Trump-like, which Claire notes with a laugh is not an accident, but she adds it's less that he's Trump specifically and more that he represents the kind of authoritarian leader that Trump is and tries to be. And when I think about it, when I describe to you like the villains are stupid. So she also puts Putin does it targeting the LGBTQ community, Turkish leader does it targeting refugees and migrants, and oh my god, I didn't even read this when I read this. I didn't read this part. Duterte in the Philippines does it. So if you're a Duterte fan, please don't hate on me, but I hate him. If you're from another country and you don't know who Duterte is, Google him, Google everything that he's done. You'll be appalled. You'll be appalled. Oh my god. every individual can make a difference. This book is almost like an activist playbook. So, cause in this book, Julian leads like a team which is called Livia's Watch, of course, in honor of Livy, his sister. And it really does elicit activism feels. Oh yeah, okay. Let's talk about, so wait, the villains, we've tackled that. They're like the real leaders in the real world who are stupid and I don't even know their motivations. Like, I don't even know where they're getting those thoughts and feelings from, which therefore then guides their actions, therefore then affects so many people, because they're the leaders of countries and nations and I don't even know. So one of the stupidest characters in this book is Zara Dearborn. So she's the daughter of Horace, who is obviously like the leader, the inquisitor, the evil inquisitor. And oh my god, she's so petty. Like in the ending, when she was just getting Cortana from Emma, that was so... she was so pathetic. I hate her so much. Sometimes I really wanna laugh at her because she's just so pathetic, but sometimes I also really just hate her so much. Let's talk about the diversity in this book. So the main thing is Diana Rayburn. So Diana is a transgender character in this book. So she went to Bangkok and made use of mundane medicine, which is forbidden in the Shadowhunter world for the Shadowhunters. But she did that. She had a sex change, of course. She transitioned to who she is in this book. And there's also like a particular quote here that I really liked when Emma and Julian talked to Diana about the transgender thing. Oh yeah, here. So Julian and Emma goes to Diana's tent to talk to her about how they learned that she's a transgender woman. And then Emma says, so you know that Diana says, so you know that I'm transgender. Do you know what that means? And for me, that was such a great line. Yeah, such a great line. Julian said, we know that when you were born, you were assigned a gender that does not reflect who you are. Something in Diana loosened. She laughed. Someone's been on the internet, she said. Yeah, that's right, more or less. And when you were in Bangkok, you used mundane medicine, said Emma, to become who you really are. And this is the part that I really like. Diana says, baby girl, I've always been who I really am. In Bangkok, Katarina Loss helped me find doctors who would change my body to represent who I am, and people who were like me to help me understand I wasn't alone. So that's such a great line for me. Is there anything else in here? Okay, so I put reasons you'll love the book. Number 1, great dynamics between the characters. So these include the new and old characters. Obviously, the dynamics between the Blackthorn family and Emma and Diana is such... it's so good. It's like you want to be part of their family kind of thing. Yeah. And also their dynamics with characters from the other series, like Jem and Tessa are here, and then Clary, Jace, Alec, Isabel, Magnus, Simon are here. And it's just such a great blend of characters, although it did contribute to the amount of pages in this book, because of course you'd have to put so many characters in this book, which made it so big. But yeah, I'm a very sentimental person. I'm very nostalgic. I was very nostalgic when I read about this book. There were just a lot of scenes that elicited nostalgia for me. Because obviously, my first love in the Shadowhunter world are the characters in the Mortal Instruments. And here, they're given proper recognition as well. And just let me check my Goodreads. There's a lot of scenes where I was just like, wanted to cry. I was just sounding off on Goodreads last night. I also love this part. That explains why I can see 7 of you, Magnus said to Alec. My ultimate fantasy. My god. Also, I love how the characteristics of the characters in the Mortal Instruments are still so amazingly shown here. Because like Magnus is snarky and awesome, Clary is still Clary, Jace is still kinda arrogant and vain. And then here, Alec and I are unafraid to express our manly love, said Jace. Sometimes he carries me around like a swooning damsel. And then Clary says, but I'm wearing a t-shirt that says unicorn power. But yeah, here, this is one of the most nostalgic scenes for me. Suddenly he looked 17 again. And this just this was talking about Jace. And it's just like, oh, tears. Also, I said, I love a good coming together and fighting together type of scene. Chills. And yeah, I ship Christina, Kieran, and Mark. Oh, here, I love this one as well, this quote. Be good, my archer boy, come back to me. And this was Magnus saying it to Alec. Cassie Clare really writes a damn good fight scene, literal tears. Oh yeah, I did cry in this book. So insert my crying face in this part, cause like, oh my god. Look, I was really I was really crying in this book, cause at the like very end of this book, it's just I was just crying, because like Emma almost died and then they turned into freaking giants, and oh my god, and then they were like Nephilim, and so after you've seen my cute crying face, definitely not cute, I look like a mess. But yeah, let's talk about the ending. So the ending still stems from Thule, the other dimension thing, and Jace of Thule is a freaking evil bitch, and he just appears at the end, and I can't believe that I have to wait 2 years to know the freaking continuation, cause like, girl, the very ending of this, there is one more thing, said the Jace that was not Jace, his golden eyes hard. I want you to bring me Clary Fairchild. Girl, give Clary a break. Oh my god. Seriously, this girl has been through so much. Can't believe she's still alive. I'm just saying. I don't want her to die, but I can't believe she's still alive. That's some pure heroine thing. So anyway, those are just like my random rambly thoughts about this book. Obviously, there's a lot more I could tell you guys about my feelings in this book. There's a lot of things that I missed saying that I didn't say in this video, but I still feel it in my heart, and I'm still thinking about it because I'm not over this book. But yeah, those are just some of my thoughts. Obviously, I'm late to the party reading this book because I was away, and if you haven't seen I lived in an island vlog, yeah, that's why I haven't read this haven't started it since now. What? Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people talked about this book, a lot of people hated it, a lot of people loved it. It was very much like a contrast of opinions, but yeah, I'm more on like the loving it side. I gave it 4 stars in Goodreads. If you've read this, comment down below what your thoughts were. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What did you hate about it? What did you love about? And then, yeah, give this video a like if you really like this vlog, and subscribe down below. And I will see you in the next video.